Hey everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel. Today I am going to do a live exercise. I know it's a little bit dark in the room right now. I tried to set the lighting up a little bit better, so I'll have to rearrange this for the next time. And it is later in the day, of course. But I've had some people ask me to do a live demonstration on how to dispute. And as it's the end of the day and I'm a little bit tired, I want to actually break down a common fear that's something that I didn't realize was tied into my OCD, and I think many people actually miss, and that is the fear of being burned out. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, let us know how you feel. If you're interested in any of our webinar services or coaching services, please email info@ocdrecovery.com, and then we can go into more depth about this. I don't really have a lot of plans for this video. Sometimes I just come on here and I just wing it and see how it goes, and I think it's a great way to do some of these videos. So first of all, when we're breaking a fear down, what does that even look like? So the first thing we have to remember is we have the A plus the B equals the C. Okay? So A plus B equals C. And inside that A, we have activating events. Okay? And inside the B, we have irrational beliefs. Now, there's two parts to this cycle. I'm actually going to grab my eraser, which is my tissue. That way I can erase some of this and go along my way. So we have the irrational belief cycle, and then we have the C, which is the consequence. And inside that consequence, we have emotions and behaviors. Behaviors that we perform look like compulsions, avoidance behaviors, very similar. The gist is these are the things that we do to kind of hold us back. And it's really important to break these things down and realize that even the smallest compulsions relating to our fears, the smallest compulsions that lead to our low frustration tolerance will perpetuate that cycle of OCD. So you have the activating events plus the belief systems equal to C. Now, the way that most people think, I have to do this a little bit carefully, that way my board doesn't fall down, how most people believe, and I'm going to move this in a little bit more, give you a little bit better of an idea. I think that'll be good. So this is how most people live their life. I lived my life like this forever until I realized that what I was doing was wrong, and I had to be open-minded to that. So activating event equals C. So let me give you an example. Let's see. OCD equals depression. Okay? This is something that many people think. Because I have OCD, that's why I have depression. And that's a very understandable belief system. Another one that people have is XYZ event happened in my life, and that is why I'm angry. You know, that person made me angry. This person did so forth. This is why I'm the way I am. I'm the way I am because of my past experiences, and that's it. It definitely had a major determining factor. I had a conversation today. You just don't say anything. People don't know. You know, they were saying to me how OCD is caused by childhood traumas, and that's a nonsense belief system. But most people don't know that until they understand. So trying to even get into an educational conversation with that person would be irrelevant. It's like trying to speak to a blind person and being like, I know what it's like to be blind. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So understanding that is absolutely key. Now, let's go to the main one. I just want to give you that background about how it works. So again, for the purpose of this video, we have A plus B equals C. Okay, activating event plus belief system equals C. Now, this is how you would do this in live time while you're actually doing your disputing homework. So let's make this look a little bit more so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. So the activating event, maybe I'll step over here. Yeah, that will probably be a little bit better, right? Yeah. The activating event is, say, being tired / burned out. Now, many people have this fear, which is understandable. People run businesses, they work at high-pressure jobs, they're nurses, maybe they're a single mother. This is a very understandable belief system, but one of my favorite quotes by someone I like, his name is Alex Hormozy. He said, how did he say it? He posted it yesterday. Burnout is probably not as real as we think. It's having unmanaged emotions. He is someone who's read Ellis, and he applies that to his own investing strategies. And he's pretty philosophical in the way he goes about things. He's very much like a Gary V, if you know who that is, but a little bit maybe more philosophical. They both have good things about them. Both have things I don't agree with, but that's a different story. So, but they made a really good point. You know, a lot of people think that This is how most people think. They think that because they're tired and burned out, this is why they're so-called anxious. Okay. So this is what I thought, right? I thought because I was tired and burned out. I thought because I had time constraints. I thought because I was multitasking, right? And you hear all sorts of different stuff. You hear stuff all the time, oh, multitasking has been proved to be so unbeneficial for you. Oh, if you don't have proper time management, your life's going to fall apart. These are all fear type scenarios. It's really, and there's some truth behind a lot of these things, but they're not telling the whole story. So if we go back to the beginning part of this, where we just have, say, being tired, there are belief systems involved in this, okay? So activating event, burned out, being tired, fear, being overwhelmed, actually feeling physically overwhelmed. And then what happens is inside that belief system, so remember, now we have a plus, and then we have a B. This is the most important part in your life. Your belief systems and your perspectives on life, your belief and your perspectives on other people, events in your life, things that happen in your childhood are going to, both of these together, are going to perpetuate the C. That's going to perpetuate the emotional consequence. Understanding that was so key to my life. So when something is going wrong in my life now, I think about it. Okay, why am I a little bit anxious? Maybe I am a little bit concerned too much about my business in a healthy way, right? Not in a chronicity way. Why am I a little bit angry right here? Oh, well, I have a belief system present that this person shouldn't do that. Example. So the belief systems, when it comes to the fear of being overworked or fear of being burned out, is usually, the first one would be, it's horrible to feel overwhelmed, okay? 2, it's terrible to make a mistake. It's so bad to make a mistake. This is the worst thing ever. I never want to make a mistake again. Number 3, what if I lose control? What if I'm so overworked? What if I burn out? What if I all these terrible things happen to me? Fear. And probably the most important one, which is number 4, would be, what if I'm too burned out and too tired and I have a health problem, right? Early Parkinson's, neurodegenerative diseases, cardiac problems, heart attacks, all the stuff that people are afraid of. There's no control over, you think you have control. Even when you exercise and eat healthy and do all these things, people think in their minds that they're protected. They're not protected at all. I know people who have died young who did all those things. There's no protection. So it's no protection in the way that we imagine. So these beliefs, these irrational beliefs, are what perpetuate the C, which is the avoidance behaviors, which is playing it too safe, always watching Netflix, comfort, not having kids, not starting your own business, not traveling alone, only working part-time or not working at all, not exercising, not going on hikes, all of those behaviors that you're doing. And then the emotion can be, anxiety, depression, depersonalization, derealization, and all of that. That's basically the cycle of the fear of being tired and burned out. And it's always a fear scenario. A fear, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I can't handle it? What if my life goes to shit? What if so forth and so forth and so forth? Which I think is a really good thing. Now, people ask me, well, what do I do with this? Now that I have this cycle, this piece of paper, and I do recommend you write this out yourself, the people who write their fears out make the most progress, bar none. Okay. So now, how do you go about changing your belief systems? Well, as I'm erasing this, the most important thing to cover is this. You're not going to be able to change your perspective overnight, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, you see how I'm multitasking, talking, and doing this? It's not as black and white as many people make it out to be. I'm pretty good at multitasking, okay? People think multitasking is bad all the time. That's not true. Pros and cons, okay? So now you have what we call your effective new philosophy. And inside that effective new philosophy, okay, You have rational beliefs and disputing statements. So ask yourself a question. Okay, so you have question one, okay, which then equals rational belief. Question two, which then equals rational belief, so forth and so forth and so forth. So number one, let me grab the book on the reading list, okay? I have the first book on the reading list right here, How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything. Let's go to my favorite page, 2 pages, I say it all the time, page 96, 97. Where is holding this belief getting me? Is it helpful or getting me into trouble? So is the belief system that being overwhelmed is horrible or experiencing burnout is terrible? Well, it's uncomfortable, but I wouldn't say it's horrible. And what you do is you change those to these new effective new philosophies. So question number one, where is holding this belief getting me? The answer, it's not getting me anywhere. All it's doing is holding me back. It's perpetuating the cycle. Question number two, where is the evidence to support that my belief is irrational? This is the easiest one to disprove when it comes to this. Single mothers with many kids, families that have multiple jobs or careers, people in war. We always use that. I mean, someone might have been sleeping for 12 minutes in World War II. Then the town they were in got bombed. They couldn't say, oh, I'm so burned out right now. No, they just either got up and fought or they died. So, but today, because we have the only reason in my opinion that this is perpetuated at grand scales, and by the way, burnout is real. It's just much, much less common than people think. People are very easily capable of working 60 and 70 hours a week. Yes, you'll be more tired. I'm not saying you have to do that. Every person in them has the ability to work 70 hours a week, in my opinion. Will they be optimal? Of course not. Can they do it? Yes. Is it the end of the world if they don't do it? No. Are people avoiding working hard on anything because they're afraid of these belief systems? Yes. This is a super key. The way I look at my life is in question number 3 is a very important one with burnout. Okay, so what if I am burned out? Let's say I'm burned out and tired more than the average person. What are the benefits I can get from potentially pushing through? And this is rational belief that means the most to me, okay? I get to experience things that many people don't experience. I get to build my hardship levels. I get to come on here after a long day and make a video, okay? And then I have to do a bunch of other stuff after this. To me, and I don't have children, so there's pros and cons to why I can do that. I understand if you have kids. But, you're not going to sleep if you have young children. We have dogs sleeping in our beds. You are going to have many scenarios in your life to where you are going to feel completely overwhelmed, completely like you can't handle it anymore. But changing your belief system will help you handle that. And the reason why all of this is so important, okay, is because of this. And this is the most important thing, in my opinion, in this particular thing. This is actually how I go about disputing my beliefs myself. When things go wrong in my life or things I want to work on, I'm journaling, etc. Okay. Being tired, being burned out, and being stressed. All these are uncomfortable sensations, UCS. Uncomfortable sensations. That's all it is. But I'm more tired, but you're going to make a mistake. Yep, it's an uncomfortable sensation. And remember, you got to lose the term optimal. The word optimal is a very bad word. The reason why it's bad is because nothing is optimal. And if you're constantly striving for optimal and attaching it to your self-worth, this doesn't mean you don't put the work in. It's just realizing you can't force things in the way you're imagining. Things come much more fluid and natural than we think. But we're always trying to force things in our belief system because we think that's the best way to go forward. So these things right here are absolutely primarily more problematic because of the fears that we experience based on actually physiologically being burned out, actually physiologically being tired. The belief and the fear perpetuates the cycle. There's nothing wrong with being tired. There's nothing wrong with being burned out at times. Ask a young mother from 1930 that's a stay-at-home. Ask a mother In 1942, during World War II, where those women had to go to the factories to build things because all the husbands were away, and they had 3 kids at the house, more conservative family styles based off more religious context. You don't think they were burned out? They were fucking burned out. They just were. But they pushed through because we didn't have all this nonsense that we have today. There is unfortunately a large crowd of people with millions of followers who make a living off telling you how to be scared. Okay? I'm doing the opposite because I think it's very unhelpful. Like, I hear stuff about why you gotta have these crazy sleep routines, why you gotta have these crazy health tips. You don't gotta have any of that shit. None of it. What matters in life to me is building relationships, grit, hardship, learning through mistakes. The same principles that have been around for thousands of years that people have tried to repackage and put in new shapes and forms. It's not sexy. It doesn't look good. And this is part of life. Being tired, feeling burned out, it's all part of life. You will not achieve the things you want to achieve in your life if you don't become more comfortable with these particular things. So I hope you guys liked the way I did this. If you didn't like it, let me know. I won't do it again. It's always nice to try new things. Not everyone's going to like it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember, again, if you're interested in our coaching services, webinar services, please email info@ocdrecovery.com and we'll get back to you. And we can, go from there. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one.